Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Vanessa on behalf of Cerenade. I want to welcome you to this live webinar. It's going to be a basic training for new users. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. Good to see you again. We have loyal clients that join and make me smile. So thank you so much. We hope that today is useful and a fun training. All right, so let's see. Today, as I said, it's a basic training for new users. We're going to cover the basic steps as always so that you understand how to create a contact, how to link the members, and how to get to the forms, which are under the case profile. We're going to cover the alternate view in case you don't want to necessarily send questionnaires and you want to just type the data manually. You can use the alternate view. Or we're going to cover how to send questionnaires and how to accept them so the data can auto-populate your forms. I'm going to cover the form tools and how to use a couple of shortcuts and tricks to save you time. In case you need to send the form for clients to review, I'll cover that. Also, how to create logs, gather and store documents. You can send the clients a checklist and have them upload the documents. Also, letter templates, how you can use them to send an email quickly instead of drafting it and modifying it. And the document assembly. It's funny because I was looking at this picture and I think sometimes we still rely on like a bunch of post-its and PDFs, and so you can use the technology to save time and work more efficiently. Also, I'm going to cover, speaking of, how to use the system to create reminders and how to track all these tasks and deadlines and expiration dates with the tickler. So again, the system is not just for forms. You can definitely take advantage of how easy it is to, customize it and use it for even like non-immigration cases. By the way, if you're new, this is being recorded. We keep all these videos in our YouTube channel. So if you haven't done it yet, please go to youtube.com, search for our channel called Cerenade Academy, and make sure that you subscribe. And this is where you can access videos and all of these trainings that we do for free on Fridays. They are recorded. Also, that PowerPoint presentation that I just went over with you has useful links. So you can download it if you click on handouts on the GoToWebinar panel. Click on handouts and you should be able to download my PowerPoint presentation. All right, so let's switch to the caseworker portal. If you're new, you should have received an email with the URL. I suggest that you bookmark it and it's a lot easier. Also, of course, change your password. If you're new and you have not yet scheduled your trainings, please do that. Although I'm glad that you're here because that's what I would do. Just take the live webinar first, get an idea, a general idea of how the system works, and then take your private training so that you can ask specific questions. All right, so this is the caseworker portal. What you want to do, the first step would be creating a contact profile for your prospect or your clients. If you want to add a link for like your website, you can also click on create questionnaire and you can have something called anonymous questionnaire. So it's basically adding a hyperlink so that any prospect can just click on that and they don't have to wait until you send them the questionnaire. They can just get started with creating their own account and completing a questionnaire. But if you're the one who's going to do the or create the contact profile, make sure that you click on create over here on the top left, client contact, and enter the information. As you can see, you can have the status as a prospect. So again, it could be like a lead, not necessarily an active client. And that way you can use the system as a CRM, run reports to see how many prospects you have versus active clients. Also, this is new where you can block the option to edit the client number. And then, yeah, just enter the gender, create the contact, and it's going to take you to a window like this. Obviously, mine has already information that we can utilize. Let's close this. So when you get here, if you want to type the information manually, you can use these fields. Just make sure that you enter the information. Let me fix this, and then click Save Changes on the top left if you have something to save. If nothing has been modified, you can even click on the button. Also, every time that you save or delete or do anything, you get this green bar on top that says the operation was successful. Sometimes your internet connection might be too slow, so be aware that even if you click save, if you don't see that green bar, it's because it wasn't saved. All right, so step one, create the contact, enter data. And step two, link the, give me one second, link the family members. So this could be like the children or spouse or joint sponsor, parents. Basically, when you link them, you're going to click on link member. And most likely, if you're new, you don't have any data yet. So you have to click at the bottom, new contact. And when you create the contact, again, it's the same process. As you can see, you're going to enter the information for that family member and select the relationship, daughter, son, father, spouse. So when you select that and click link, the system takes you back to this section where you can see who's related to this client. If you click on the name of the person, like let's say the son, Andrew, it's going to open another tab that takes you to Andrew's account or his profile. So at this point, I capture his information so that when I get to the forms, then his data transfers. Even if it's just the basic information, you want to create a contact profile for them. Since I'm here, let me give you a quick trick. To save you time, you click on addresses for Andrew, the son, and instead of typing the address or abroad or mailing address, you can click where it says copy from, and then you can click select so that you copy the address from the mother's account and you don't have to retype it. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Let me close this. Step number 3, after you link the members, is to create the case on the right-hand side. A lot of people sometimes they call me and, well, not me, like everyone here in Cerenade, they call and say, I can't find the forms. I have entered the data. Well, the reason why they can't see the forms is because they haven't yet created a case. You have to click on create case. Oh, I'm going to stop because I received a question which is very interesting and it's true. The question says, hello, Vanessa. Hi. But then when the client completes the questionnaires, it won't duplicate the contact? No, if they read. If you link them, just like I did basic info, name, or even you can enter son, daughter under the field for name. Tell them that when you send the questionnaire for relatives, they don't have to recreate relatives questionnaire, an entry for that same relative. They just have to complete whatever is missing. For example, if you use the alternate view, which I'm going to cover in a moment, but let me show you really quick. And let me open the relatives questionnaire. Any relative that I have already linked, it's already here. Andrew is here. So I don't have to re-enter his data. If Andrew's information was incorrect, I can fix it here. For example, let's say his correct date of birth is 1998, and I save it. When you modify the alternate view or clients modify their questionnaire, it will save in the database. Of course, once you accept the questionnaire. Let me close this. It says that I didn't save the changes. I think I did. All right, let me get to Andrew's account. I probably didn't click. See, this is what I was saying for the internet connection. It did save. Okay, interesting. Well, you won't create a duplicate if they again read and they don't create, because at the bottom of the questionnaire clients can still create another one. So if they don't see that you have already linked those members, they can probably yes duplicate by re-entering. And when you accept the questionnaire, to avoid that, to avoid creating a duplicate, you don't accept the questionnaire, you reject it and send it back to the questionnaire and tell them to delete those duplicates before you accept the questionnaire. Otherwise, yes, you're going to end up with duplicate profiles. Question says, okay, at this point, a new client, we wouldn't have any family members created. Yeah, that's true. When it's a new client, you don't even know if they have children or not, or like, so when you send, technically speaking, when you send the questionnaire, you're right, it's going to be blank, and they are the ones who enter the data for the members. So at that point, yes, when you accept the questionnaire, we create the account for all of these members, so you don't have to do it manually, like I showed, through here. So whatever you prefer, but know that you don't have to do it twice. Either you send them the questionnaire or you link them manually. Next question says, if I create a custom intake form or a custom form, how do I link that to the client's profile? Good question. Any custom questionnaires that you guys create or custom intake forms, you can access them through the alternate view. So instead of sending them electronically to the client, you can access them from the client profile if you click on alternate view. We're going to cover that in a moment. Let me see how many of you are brand new clients. This is like probably the first webinar that you attend, or if this is a refresher course. So the truth about these polls is that I need to drink coffee while you guys vote. All right, and breathe. There we go. We've got more than 50% of the votes. So the majority of you, perfect. That's what I was hoping. I mean, not that I don't want people attending the training if it's not a new client, but it's good that you're taking advantage of these trainings. So like I said, when you book your official private training, at least you have experience and you have a general knowledge. All right, so we've talked about creating the contact, entering data, and linking the members. The next step, in order for that data to auto-populate forms, you have to have a case. So click on cases on the right-hand side and then click on create case. If you have existing cases for that same person, think of it like an umbrella. You have them right below. You can see the name of the process or the type of matter and the parties and the dates. And of course, you have shortcuts. So if I wanted to see that I-129 for this H-1B visa, I can go to select, load more data, and go straight to that form. So make sure that you guys are using this load more data. I also recommend it for comparing cases or comparing profiles at the same time. Sorry, third week. I haven't finished setting up yet, so I consider myself new. Okay, yes, that's fine. On forms, can I add forms later on? Example, the client decided to add premium process a week before file. Yes, of course, you can add forms later. For example, this case, we created what, July. So I can go straight to forms and click here, add, you search and add if you want to do one by one, or you can add a whole predefined list of forms. So if I did the adjustment of status, although I don't recommend mixing both matters, but let's say that I'm done with that one and I just want to add a whole predefined list of forms. Technically, it could be the same process if you need to duplicate them all, or let's say add whatever, naturalization forms now. So yes, you can. Remember, you can customize these processes from the administrator portal. So at any point, you can just click add, and it's going to add all those forms that are associated to that other process instead of doing them one by one. Thank you for questions. Thank you so much for asking questions. All right, so to create a new case, let's go back to her profile. By the way, when I say admin, for those that are new, you click on the top right where it says settings, go to admin tools. In fact, I recommend you right click with your mouse and open in a new tab. I'm always looking for whatever shortcuts that can save you time. So this is one of my favorites, having multiple tabs and being able to multitask. And again, the administrative home or administrative portal is where you can customize the system. So if you see processes that you don't need, if you don't see, fields that you want to add or create, this is it. We um we did an admin training recently. Again, for those new, I highly suggest, even if you're not new, take advantage of the admin settings and customizations. We keep adding more to it. So maybe on a monthly basis you explore, okay, what's new and what can I do to automate things and save time. Trust me, because when you are creating a case, for example, let's say that you are a law firm that doesn't really handle removal defense cases or like DACAs, or you don't want to have them in the list. You can hide them. Or if you do have processes that you normally handle on a daily basis, rearrange this list. As I said earlier, you can use the system for non-immigration cases too. All right, so you're gonna click on the process. When creating a case, you use this case wizard tool, and you're going to select your department or location. You can have more than one. All of these drop-down menus can be customized. I suggest you customize them because later you can run reports based on all of these filters. Also, your info will transfer to the forms as long as this box is checked or selected. If you need to replace the attorney's info or the preparers, you can add, and then again, just click and it will transfer their data. If you want to involve other paralegals or interpreters, or you can just search for their name, click and add. So I can also have their data transferred to the forms. Okay. All right, let me add one more. Let's say Benita, the paralegal, and I don't want her data to transfer, just the attorneys and the interpreters. And I click next. Can I add caseworkers later? Yes, you can. You can add caseworkers later. In fact, from the admin, go to users and you can add as many profiles as needed, but you would have to have a license or a seat, I guess, an account to be able to create an account, a username and password. But you can have as many caseworkers. Yes, to the case. Yeah, at any point, you can add caseworkers to an existing case. Doesn't matter. You don't have to do it now. For example, if I don't add Benita now, let me delete her. We'll add her later. I'll show you. All right, so case parties, I have the role. Who's the petitioner? Who's the beneficiary? Again, we have interpreter, plaintiff, defendant. You have other options. For employment-based cases, if you handle mostly employment-based cases, make sure the employer is selected as employer so that you choose the branch and the signatory. The reason why I see the branch here and the signatories is because I linked them already to the employer's account under members. Okay. For family-based cases, then you can choose petitioner as their role. Now, for the beneficiary, we suggest that you select alien. Let me see. I'm going to add a derivative. I'm just looking at, I need to clean this list because this is the same testing site and the same profile that I've been using for 10 years. At this time, she's a US citizen already. Okay, so we've got the forms. I can always add forms. For example, I'm going to add, actually, let me add this one because this is not a government form, but we created, it's called contact, and I'll show you later why you may want to use it. But anyways, you can always add a form. When searching for the form, don't enter the letters or dashes, just do the numbers. It's a lot easier to just click and add, okay? You can also move up or down. And then at the bottom, create. Now, to answer your question, let me show you. If I go back to the home screen and I click on recently updated cases, I have it right here, or I can also click on cases. Anyway, so when you click on case workers on the right hand side, you can always link a case worker at any time. Let's add Benita. Just select or search, click to select, and then click link. And she's already part of the case. but I'm going to uncheck this because I don't want her data to transfer to the forms. I hope that helps. All right, so every time that you create a case, I suggest that you click on the name of the person because it allows you to open a tab. Again, multitasking. I can go from the contact profile to the case profile. Let's click on forms. So now, let me dismiss this. Now, I'm going to show you, before we get to the forms, I do want to cover what happens when I need to gather the data so that these forms auto-populate. Okay, we talked about entering the data manually on all of these fields. By the way, if you enter data and you don't click save, when you switch to a different area of the system and you come back, you lose that info. So make sure that you do save your changes. You're not going to get a warning. It's not going to tell you you have unsaved changes. So make sure that if you can move your mouse at least and see if you can't save, it's because there's nothing that you need to save. So what I want to show you is the alternate view. Alternate view, like I said earlier, is where you can access intake forms. So if you want to create a custom intake form, make sure that you watch our video or attend the training where we show you how to create something like this, where you can ask questions like, is this the first time that you contact us? Yes, well, how did you hear about us? Or no, it's not the first time that I contact you. My case number is this, etc. As you can see, the information transfers to the fields because I have information already. If I need to make corrections, I can easily do it here. So let's say the correct date of birth is this, and I click to save. Again, you should see the green bar on top. That means that you did save it successfully on the server. And I can now switch to a different questionnaire. For example, biographic information. Notice the difference. If you see a blue bar on top, it's one of our system questionnaires, right? You can modify it. You can always go to the admin, make modifications to our system questionnaires. But you can also create your own questionnaires like this one. Complete 589. It has questions that I added, such as the name, but it has all these questions for the I-589. All right, so let's close this. Make sure that again you save the changes and look at the date of birth. It's been updated. So either you send them the questionnaires, which I'll show you right now how to do that, or you can use the alternate view to, capture the data yourself. Let me see. No one. This happens for a client as well, not to save. Can you please elaborate? I'm not understanding your question. This happens for the client as well. Okay, I'll continue. So if you can explain what you mean, not to save. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to send a questionnaire to a client. Make sure that they have a cell phone and email. Now, you probably don't have text message included, but know that we do offer that feature where you can send a text message with the link so they can complete a questionnaire, and it's a lot easier instead of sending them to the client portal. Oh, sorry, let me read a question. It says, when you added info on the questionnaire and it didn't save, does it happen when clients add the info as well? When you added info, no. If you add info and it doesn't save, yeah, it happens to the clients as well. So if the clients, let's see, I'm gonna log in into the client portal as a client. Let me see what happened. Give me 1 second. Someone's changed the password. Give me 1 second. I need to modify the password here. All right, so now that it's been updated, I can easily just go and log in. Okay, so if your client opens a questionnaire, let's see this one, address history for the last 5 years only. And let's say this is a test and they type test. Well, if she doesn't click save and closes, I think they do lose that data. Let me open. Yes. So make sure that you let them know that they need to save and then submit, or save and or print and then submit. Yeah. But for example, here I can type and submit. I don't have to save it. It will go and it tells them the questionnaire has been submitted. But there's no like, are you sure you want to submit? Or are you sure you want to close? So beware. Thank you for that question. Let me close this. The only time where you get this warning is through the alternate view. Let me show you. And I think we saw that earlier when I was making changes. If I make any modification and I close it or try to close it, it does tell you this. You have unsaved changes. Are you sure you want to close the form without saving? So you can cancel, save, and go back. All right. So let's say that we want this person to, let me delete this. I want to show you what happens when it's a brand new client. Okay, when you have a client and you want to send them questionnaires, you're going to click on create questionnaire and then select the name of the person. Remember, you could also print the questionnaire, give them the paper. You can even translate the questions, give them the paper instead of sending it via email. Because if they're not tech savvy, you probably need to hand them the questionnaire, let's say in Spanish, and when they bring it back to you, use the alternate view to open the same questionnaire. If you need to send it electronically, select the client and it's going to ask you to create an account. Well, this account, it's mandatory, even if you're not going to send them the details to log in. So you can uncheck the box if you don't want to necessarily email them the credentials. All right. I also suggest that you generate the password manually, and maybe sometimes families share the same email address. That's okay. But you cannot have the same email, sorry, the same username. I'm just going to click save. And I did choose to send the credentials because I want to show you this. All right. When you send the username and password to the clients, you could use a default message, or in the admin portal, you can create letter templates to select your own message and you don't have to retype the same information over and over again. So if I pick my version in Spanish, I have it so that it auto-populates her name, and I just left the URL and the brackets. Do not change the brackets, leave the info as is, and then click email. The system for secure reasons sends the email with the password. Now, how do you want to deliver these questionnaires? Do you want to send it via the client portal so they do log in and access these questionnaires, or do you want to send a passwordless link, which can be sent via text message, email, or WhatsApp, or something else? When sending these questionnaires, maybe you want to send them by default in a different language. You can pick the process, and it's a lot easier if you have already customized which questionnaires are associated to that process. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you probably have like this, no data available. It's because you haven't customized the process and the questionnaires that are associated to it. All right, I'm just gonna pick a questionnaire. Hopefully I can send this one or this one. Let's see. Perfect. When sending the questionnaire, oops, the client has to verify their identity for secure reasons, and that message can be sent in a different language as well. This is where you choose how do you want to send the questionnaire. Do you want to send it as a text message, email, or you want to copy that link to your clipboard and paste it somewhere else? Like I said, you can have WhatsApp web open and you paste it and send them the link. As long as they click on the link and they enter the data and then send it back, then that's all you need. But sometimes, again, clients don't have an email. Clients are not tech savvy. We get it. All right, so we're just going to send it, let's say, via text message. You need to have text message included in your package. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use this feature. But hopefully, again, you can upgrade or talk to our sales team to get it because it's super convenient. I'm going to send the link and wait for her to complete it. Let me see, someone has a question. Can you show again how you got to this email page? Oh, yes. When I was creating the account for the client, Let's go back. Give me 1 second. I need to delete it. This is what happened. I was creating the let's say the password is this. I was creating the account, and then you're gonna see an email that's, I mean, an option that says to send them the credentials. So it looked like this. And this is what you're probably referring to, that message template or email page. When you send that email, you can modify the template instead of sending the default version. Okay, let me know if that's what you wanted it, if you wanted me to show. But technically, again, when sending a questionnaire to a brand new client, you have the client already. Perfect. If you have created a client already, go to the account. Let's see if I find one of these. All right, let's use Alpha Janet and then click on client access. She's a brand new client. I have not created an account yet. So I'm going to choose the login name, Janet, password 1234, and create, and then click email. She doesn't have an email, so let's make it up. Janet@test.com. So I can send the URL, username and password, so that I can enable questionnaires and she can start working on those questionnaires. So that's how it works. Click on email credentials after you create the account. All right, let me just delete this one. You don't see the email credentials because you haven't created the account. That's why. All right, so after you send the questionnaire and the client accesses that either through email, through text message, or client portal, you're going to click on, sorry, I got distracted. No, your clients are going to click on the link and access, and then hopefully they comply and respond. So I'm the client right now. I'm opening the questionnaire. Look that it was sent in Spanish. I can see the logo of the law firm. I can see the data that's in the system, but this is incorrect. Let's change it to TGIF and Avenue, and then, I don't know, apartment 7. All right, so client makes the modifications, sends it back. By the way, tell your clients to make a copy if they want to print it before they send it back to you. They can save it as a PDF just so that they can keep track of, okay, I did respond to these questions. And all right, once they submit, you get an email from us. They get a notification if they have more questionnaires to continue and move on to the next one and so forth. I'm just going to close this. It's good to give them access to a client portal. Honestly, the way I see it, everyone has a smartphone nowadays. Even if they don't use it, it is actually, I think, included when you're born. Well, anyways, that smartphone can give them access to a client portal, not just for questionnaires, but also for them to message you, make a payment, upload their documents. So in a way, it's a win-win because they don't have to drive to your office. They can just take a picture, upload. So there are many reasons why you want to empower your clients and show them how to use this feature and also reduce the number of phone calls. I don't know, I'm just saying. All right, so let's see. Next question. What's the difference between creating the client and creating the account? I can create an account, sorry, I can create a client and not necessarily give them access to a client portal. That's what that's what creating an account means, giving them access to that client portal that I was showing. Now on your end, when you log in and you see this number on the top right under questionnaires and forms, it's because you've got an item. In fact, I've got two. This one that I sent almost a month ago, it was actually initiated by Kevin. So I'm going to open it and I can see the changes. If I click accept, I will override and update the database. Now, again, I have another questionnaire from the same client. I'll go to the next one, which is this one. Wait a minute, this is a DS-116. No, I don't want to see this one. You can send forms too. I want to see this one, the one that we just received. Well, Notice that as soon as I saved or accepted, the name changed, but it's going to change again because it's been modified. So one thing you should know is that any field that your clients modify, it turns red. You can click on it and we show you what was there before. What was the original value? So, and if you click on the field, you can compare and you accept. Or you can send it back. All right, let's go back to the profile so we can see the information has been updated and the address as well. Okay, so when you accept the questionnaire, that information will override and update the information. Next question. I have the client created, but I don't see how or where to send the questionnaire. Yes, because you have to click on Create Questionnaire on the left. And then from there, initiate the questionnaire and send it to your client. All right, so next item on my list, let me go back. We've talked about, oh yeah, so let's see how the forms auto-populate, which is a bread and butter, right? Of this industry. Forms, forms, forms. All right, so we have the client created, we have data, we have the family members linked, and assuming we have the data, at least the basic info, and then you created the case, which is right here. I'm gonna open it. I said that we recommend to click on the name of the person so that you can go back and forth, and you'll see right now why. And then you open the form. Let's open the I-130. I like this form because I can show you both the alien and the petitioner and the. So on the left, it says petitioner info goes here. If that happens to you when you open a form and there's nothing populating, it's probably because you have the wrong role, especially if you do employment-based cases and you open, let's say, the I-129 and the employer's info is not transferring, is because you link them as petitioner and not employer. Here's the petitioner info, and page 5, it says alien. That's why I recommend it to select alien instead of beneficiary, so his data transfers right away. If that happens to you when again you open the form and there's nothing here, just click on that red button, select, click on replace alien and also replace members, and then click on the name of the person, regardless of the role. It could have been beneficiary or other, and that's why it wasn't transferring because the form is expecting alien. Well, if you just click on the name, regardless of the role, it will transfer his data to the form, to that region of the form. Now this message ignore, just click OK, basically says the petitioner is the same person as the spouse. It is. So those regions have been locked, and that's why you go to the contact profile to enter, modify information. For example, let's say that I want to change the date of birth. Well, I could change it here, but it would defeat the purpose of using a system because then you can just go to the USCIS website. The idea is that you enter the data into the database here. Let's say the correct date of birth is this one, and I save it. I go back and refresh. How do I refresh the form so the correct info appears? Well, remember that red button? It's right here for the petitioner. This is a corresponding button. So you click select, replace, and then of course I'm going to replace with Valeria. It's the same person. So I'm not technically replacing with someone else's info. I'm just refreshing or replacing the old data with the new data. That's how you update the form. So now the correct date of birth shows here. But when I open the I-485 or the N-400, the correct date of birth will show up because it's pulling that data or bringing it from the profile. So any changes, this is the most important thing you have to remember from today's training, is that any changes, you have to update the profile. In other words, if you open a form and your paralegals have been doing this is not good. You don't want to see blue text on the forms. Not only they're wasting the time, but they're not working efficiently because this information could have, been entered one time only, transfer to multiple forms. But also, if you think about it, reports are not accurate. Letter templates do not transfer or didn't work if there's nothing in the system. So for many reasons, you want to enter data directly here and then simply switch back, refresh, and continue. You could also add post-its. These sticky notes, you can customize them. You can drag and drop them anywhere you want. You can make them big. Actually, I recommend to add a post-it on the very first page as large as possible so that you can add your notes, especially when sharing this to the client. Please review notes and confirm. I don't know. So you can use these post-its and or sticky notes for internal reads, like maybe for your staff to see your comments or observations, or again, for you to share with a client. These post-its do not have to print if you don't want to. When it's time for you to print the form, simply uncheck them. Also, we have another feature that's popular, which is called Type Anywhere. It's this keyboard. If you click on it, move your mouse, type anywhere. You can drag and drop and position text anywhere you want. Yes, you can customize the text. I have it in red, but you can change the color, the font, the size. Also, if you type information in a field and it doesn't fit, don't worry, the system is going to shrink it automatically. And if you exceed, it creates the addendum. Where can I enter the client's I-94 number? Go to the contact profile under documents. It's under I-94s. Um, So when you have extra text or extra info, such as additional employment history or education history, when you go to the addendum or the last pages, click on that red button and it will show you those additional entries. Again, another reason why you want to enter that info here in the system. Okay, history of previous addresses. They either the client provided this or I enter them manually, but one time only. And then here I can choose which addresses I want to include. Click save, and they will transfer along with the pages, the page numbers and part number, item number. So this is going to save you a lot of time. What else I was going to show you? Oh, when you are done with the form, if you click on this icon, it looks like a magic wand, you can replace blank spaces with NA and click replace. Just wait until you are done with the form. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you found it. That I-94 hides. Oh, you know what? Speaking of the I-94, did you know that if you are subscribed to e-filing, you can import data from the CBP website, including the I-94s and travel history? So if I don't want to retype all the I-94 history or travel, go to the document section, I-94 entries, and then import from CBP. You have to be subscribed to e-filing. But here's where you can launch it, and it's going to ask you for your website name. It's right here. So make sure that you take advantage of this feature if you want to save time. Import from CBP website, all the entries and arrivals. And all right, so going back. Sorry, I'm kind of lost. I was covering forms. I want to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Oh, this is also something super cool. The addendum, I don't know if you know this, but let me quickly show you, especially if you are not new, because I haven't talked about this in my previous trainings. If you go to the tools section, there's a tag helper. I've learned that if you want the addendum to, for example, auto-populate all the children or just biological children, like you can copy this tag, go to the form addendum, paste it, and then when you print the form, all the children info appear in a table. Let's look at it. I'm going to print the form. And show you what I'm talking about. See, the children appear. I don't know if I can make this bigger, but basically oops, you can save time instead of typing the name, alien number, and date of birth for each of the child, like the children, sorry, you can use the tags. All right, let's go back. Like I said, those little tricks and shortcuts will save you time. Speaking of shortcuts related to forms, if you go to the admin, if you haven't done this, I highly suggest you do because in the admin, there's a feature that you all have called form defaults. So if you want to customize the actual form, let's say the N400, I can complete the form so that anytime that I open an N400, it has all these questions already marked. No, 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 no. I don't have to redo this or, do it every single time manually. Of course, if a client says yes to any of these, you can switch it. But instead of clicking no, no, no manually for every single N400. So it's called form defaults. Keep in mind again, if the USCIS releases a new version, you just go back to your default and add to the new one, to the new edition. All right, let me know if you have any questions about forms or anything in general. I'll stop because I think I need to breathe and drink coffee. All right, I'm waiting for the other participants to vote and I'll know if I need to stop or continue. All right, thank you for those who voted. Let's continue. Um, Next item on my list, let's see the agenda, is how to send that form to your client so they can edit the form. Remember I told you to use that big post-it on the first page. Well, that's going to be helpful when you share the form either as read-only PDF or editable HTML. Know that if you send it as read-only, you can add a watermark so that if they try to print it, it's going to have a stamp all over the form. And uh, if you send it as editable HTML, they can make changes to the form. All right. But again, you can have, well, technically, you can have a watermark for that client in general. If you go to their client access, there's a watermark here. So you can also put like, property off or nice try. um, anyway, so when you send the form to the client so they can edit the form, you're going to send them an email. So they log in, you choose your email address or who, I'm sending it to the petitioner and you could CC or BCC anyone, but technically the form, Valeria has access to it, that client profile, because you can't share the same form to multiple people at the same time. In fact, when you share the form, let me send this. If you share the form and you or anyone else in your organization tries to open it, they can't. Well, they can open it, but as a read-only access. They can see it unless they change, you change your mind, you don't want the client to make modifications, delete their copy. If your client or when your client logs in into the portal, they'll see the form just like we send the questionnaire, but they access the actual form. This is why I like the sticky note because there's no excuse. I didn't know. It's right there. They can respond, nothing major. Like, I don't know, they can respond to your message and just, changed one field. I don't know. And if they change anything in the system, let's say I'm gonna change it back to 7. July 7. Um, let's say this was the correct date of birth. Well, notice how it turns blue. This is not a questionnaire. This is the actual form. Any modifications they enter, it's not gonna save the database. It's not going to update the profile. So keep in mind, again, this is going to stay only on this form. You would have to update the profile manually. 1890, that's an old client. Sorry, my dyslexia kicking. I'm going to submit the form, just like the questionnaires. You get an email from us, you log in into your portal, and then you'll see that indicator on top. When you open that mailbox, you see the actual form. And again, it's up to you if you want to delete, accept, open, and review. When you review, it's better because you have access to make a decision. Otherwise, if you accept right away, you can probably make a mistake. But again, we highlight the changes in red and you can click and compare what was there before. I usually recommend to just copy and paste it. If I have multiple tabs open, might as well just update the info myself manually. I will accept the form and that's it. That any changes will reflect. I'm quickly doing it because I realize we're running out of time. It's right here. You know, you can see right away the envelope disappear, so I can open and make changes myself. The reason why it's black and not blue like this one is because I did copy paste and I updated her profile. So that's why. But I didn't change this, the country of birth, which is clearly a mistake. All right, so let's continue. Logs. How to create a note or log. On the right hand side, both client and case profile, you can click on logs and add your notes or comments. Make sure that you also customize the categories or types from the administrative portal. Instead of just saying this is general, no, be more specific. This is RFE related note. And then you can share with your client if you share, if you click on the name. You could also pin a note or, pin it so that it stays here. If you go to their contact profile and click on logs, you can also show any logs or case comments at the same time. And it tells you the case number and obviously the comment and the type and the date and who created. Please stop using post-its. Take advantage of these because you can run reports, you can see everything, you can find everything or a lot easier and faster. So if you really want to grow your practice and your business, utilize what you have instead of doing things manually. For example, I'm looking for anything related to billing. So I can search by using a keyword, billing. Or I can also print, maybe show me all the text message communication with this client and then select them and print a PDF. But I don't want the importance. I just want to see that it's a text message, when was created, who updated, like, all of it. So now I have like a PDF with all the messages for Valeria, text message information, dates, and who sent the text message. I mean, you have that information already, but if you don't enter the info in the system, you can't generate reports. And I see someone raising a hand. I see a couple of questions. Uh, so I can only send to one person at a time. Yes, when you send forms to your clients, the reason why you can only send one form to one person at a time is because if I am making changes and you are also working on the same form, the system doesn't know, which one to accept. So it's one at a time. The way I see it is like I'm holding a paper and you can't see it until I let go and then give you the access. That's how I learned it. Let me show you how to gather and store the documents. As I mentioned before, you have a checklist and these can be customized. I actually like to have in English and Spanish, or if I share with my client right here, share with clients, they can access the the checklist from the client portal, Or you can also print it, give them the paper. But if you want them to upload from like any device, cell phone, computer, tablet, you can let them know by clicking here, email, and you're not really sending any documents. If I had a document right here, then yes, of course, I'm sharing the actual attachment, like your contract or copy of instructions. Or when your clients receive these documents, they click on share documents and they can see them here. And now they know what they need to upload. They can click upload and drag and drop all their evidence as long as each file doesn't exceed 100 megabytes. And when they upload, then we know exactly what document is the passport, what document is their certificate, etc. It's going to be associated to the corresponding document because the client shows, okay, this is my diploma, this is my certificate. So it's a lot easier for you and the clients to gather the evidence. Of course, if they are not tech savvy, you can scan and do the batch upload yourself. The next item on my list is letter templates. You have them under the case profile under documents. They're right here, letter templates. Now remember, you can create these documents and save time because the system can auto-populate details like name and case number. So I don't have to redo this. I can just make it a PDF, Word, or email. If I click email, I'm going to send this email that says request for documents. Click on the three dots, send it to my client, and see how I populated her name and the case number. So I don't have to redo this again. And then just send that email. Make sure you guys customize your letter templates from the admin portal. We're almost done. Document assembly, it's right here. Assuming we have all the forms and the evidence and the cover letters and everything, you create a package. So I can say, this is the package for Valeria. I want all these forms to be associated or included. So I click select and move them. Same thing as the evidence or the cover letters, select and move them. And you can click and drag and drop so that you fix it. I can arrange this here, the passport here, the cover letter here. So now that I have everything the way I want it, let's create a table of contents. The system helps you to update the page numbers accordingly. So all you do need is to make sure everything looks fine, save, and either download it or email it. That's your document assembly. Now remember, download my PowerPoint presentation because I have the links right here so that you guys learn more in detail after today's training. Oops, I still have reminders. Okay, reminders are also available from both the client and the case profile. You can add a reminder and also this can be customized. So if you haven't done it, again, go to your admin portal and customize this drop-down menu under the types section. So that way you know that when you get this email or text message reminder or both, you know that you've got a biometrics appointment check. And maybe we have to do that on September 8th, but we want to get an email a day before at 8:30 a.m. Who's responsible to do this check for the biometrics appointment? Let's say Kevin. So he is going to get that email and text message as well as other recipients. I can include the client as long as they have a cell phone and you also have the SMS feature in your package. Every time that you guys create a reminder, or if you have the expiration dates as we talked about earlier, for example, I-94s, visas, RFEs, anything, passports, as long as you have the data entered, we keep track of that information in what we call the tickler. Your tickler is your general dashboard. So this is where you can see all those reminders and expiration dates and process steps, which I'll show you in a moment. Not just for you, but if you click here, you can show the data for all your case workers. So this is your general dashboard, which can be customized if you go to your user preferences. Now, process steps are your tasks, or the way I see it is like your to-do list, your milestones, or yeah, like the workflow or timeline, I guess, of the case. So it tells you what case, what you need to do, and when you need to do it. Let's take a look at this case. Every time you create a case, if you click on process steps, you should modify these. Why you want to modify? Because the system doesn't know when you're technically starting the case. So as long as you have the start date and you have a number of days, then the system auto generates, as you can see, the target date. So that way we know what we need to do and when we need to do it. So we have the person in charge. Let's say Vanessa has to review file and evaluate petitioner, blah, blah, on September 2nd. If I don't complete and click here or enter the date, let's say I completed this last week. I did this yesterday. Now I know, or salió or supper. Now we know who did what, when they did it, and if you have something overdue, let's say this was due on August 16th. If they don't do it or they don't click complete, that person is going to receive an email reminder. So for the review, file, and evaluate, I will get an email on September 2nd because I'm the one who selected here. And you can see that it turns red if it's overdue, like this one. So you can use this also if you want to share the progress with your client so they know what's been completed. If I say share progress or updates with my client, she can log in into her client portal and she can see the status of that case. Instead of calling my office, she can click on status. She can see everything that we've done or completed or what's coming soon, or at least we started these. Okay, that is something that you have the power to share or not. I know you have a couple of questions. We're almost done. I have a section here called Did You Know? Make sure that you download my PowerPoint presentation so that you click on these links and you learn more about these features. This is the one that I mentioned, import data from the CBP website. Okay, if and yes, you will have questions, how to get help. We do have a lot of resources and support. Please call us Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 Pacific Standard Time, except on holidays. Email us or click on your technical support option on the top right corner, or send your feedback to developers. We also have a user's guide. I suggest that you click on the user's guide link and bookmark it in your browser window. We do these trainings for free on Fridays and we record them. Now, if you thought I was going fast, which I probably was, but remember, we have just 1 hour. We do offer private training sessions where you can go at your own pace and we can cover exactly what you want us to cover. And the fee for a private training is $100 per hour. We also have a podcast. We have a Facebook forum page where you can join and interact with other users. And like I said earlier, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is called Cerenade Academy. These are some of the questions that you guys sent, and I'll cover the ones that you just submitted. Number one, why not all questionnaires come up in the drop-down menu with a specific process? Let me show you why. If you go to your admin, click on case processes and make sure that you click on the questionnaires so that you link or customize that process. So for example, the one that I show, I think it was that criminal defense case, I don't know. You click on that questionnaire icon and you're going to add the questionnaire from here. Especially if you have customized your own questionnaires, you want to put them or include them in that checklist. Next question, how can I add beneficiaries to business client profiles? From the profile for the corporation, which is a business client, let me open it. Click on members. So if you go to members, click link member, and this is where you can include the employees or the signatories or any other party like HR manager, consulting attorneys. Lastly, can the software be used for more than just immigration? I was so happy when I saw this question. Whoever asked, I was like, yes, even though the name of the system is eIMMIGRATION, it can be used for general case management as well. You can use it, like I said, for, like as a CRM system. So yes, absolutely yes. Access the admin portal so that you customize your processes, your letter templates, your custom fields, and more. I put the link right here because you may want to watch the admin portal training we did recently. And guess what? I have the training scheduled for both September and October. So you can book or register in advance and yeah, you can take advantage of these sessions for free. Now, these upcoming trainings, again, if you want to download my PowerPoint presentation, or you can also go to our website. If you go to Cerenade.com, you can do Cerenade.com/events, I think. And here's where you can see the schedule. They're going to update this website, this page, so that you can click and register as well for both September and October. Wow. Okay. Next, I know I have questions to cover, but some of you have to disconnect. And yes, it's Friday, so please enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to stick around because I do have a couple of questions that I didn't answer. How much info should populate in the forms? I don't seem to get much. Well, it's number one, because you don't have data in the profile. So, and the other thing is you probably have the wrong. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, thank you for the flower. You make me smile. Have a good weekend. Um, she sent me an emoji for a flower. So that profile, make sure that you do have data. Number two, sometimes the forms have questions that you normally don't see on other forms. For example, the DS-160 or the DS-260 has a question like, what's your full name in native alphabet? We don't have that field, but you can create a custom field and connect it to the form. So technically, you can create your own questionnaire to ask these additional questions, have the client type, enter the data, and as long as you connect your custom field to the actual form, it will auto-populate more information than just these basic standard or system fields, if that makes sense. Now, for what I just told you, because it's not something easy that I can just cover, I do recommend that you watch the admin portal training. Go to the YouTube channel, Cerenade Academy again, and we do have a video that let me tell you which one. It's like this one. And we're uploading more videos every week, but this one was like how to gather that info and efficiently use it and populate to forms. So we talk about those customizations that I'm referring to. But if you want, also write down form custom data population. So technically, you just have to create your custom field and then connect it to the actual form through this form custom data population. But again, if you have questions, you can always contact us, give us a call, or send us a message. I appreciate you interacting and asking questions. Someone raised a hand. Oh, I think it was you. Okay. Any other questions? And before you disconnect, let me know if your questions were addressed during the webinar. Thank you so much for voting. At the end, when you log out and disconnect, there's going to be a survey. No hard feelings, but give me your feedback and let us know what you think about these trainings. We appreciate the the feedback. Awesome. Thank you so much for voting. All right. Well, have a great weekend. Enjoy your time, and we hope that today's webinar was useful and that you can utilize the system to its full potential. Honestly, that is the goal. It's not just for forms. Please take it one step at a time, but yeah, it's a great system. So we want to help as much as possible. So please contact us if you have any questions. Ah, what if you're not the admin? Yes, you're right. You need to contact your administrator portal for that. Oh, you're very welcome. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you don't see this where it says administrative tools, contact your admin. Whoever is the administrator, tell them, look, we can be working more efficiently. We just need to modify the admin, but maybe they want to give you access so that you can take over. But yeah, you need to have access to the administrator portal. If you have any other questions, again, please contact us. Thank you again for joining us today and have a great weekend. Bye bye.